everybody, happy Wednesday, and I hope you're having a good week. So raring to go today. So we're going to be looking at shapes today and looking at different 2D shapes and then developing our knowledge on from that. So we're going to start today's lesson with a flashback 4. So I'd like you to have a go at answering these questions. So the first thing I want you to do, I want you to look at the clock and the time on the clock, and I want you to tell me the time on the clock. Tell me exactly how many minutes to or past the hour it is. You could also, if you want to challenge yourself, you could also write it as a digital clock as well. Then for number 1, you're completing the sequence 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, and then what comes after. For the next one, what fraction of the shape is shaded? So use the shape to identify what fraction it is. Remember, the denominator is the number of parts. And number 3, how long is the pencil? Look to see where the pencil starts, look to see where the pencil finishes, and then you can work out how long the pencil is. And finally, number 4, what is 8 times 4? Have a go at those, and then we'll have a look to see if you've got the answers right. So if we start off by looking at the clock to start with, so we need to first of all look at the minute hand, and we need to remember first of all, is it on the past side or is it on the to side? Okay, we should have been able to see that it is on the to side is the minute hand, because remember the minute hand is the longest word, so it's the longest hand. Then I'm going to start my finger on the 12 and I'm going to count back until I get to 10. Remember, I can count in 5s because there is 5 minutes between each number. So I can start from the 12, I can go 5 minutes till it gets to 11, 10 minutes until it gets to the 10. So it's going to be 10, 10 minutes to. Now I need to look at my hour hand. Where is my hour hand trying to get to? It is trying to get to the 4, so it's 10 minutes to 4. Now if you wrote that as a digital clock, for those people that really challenge themselves, we could say that we now need to look at what hour has passed. So we could say it has passed the 3. And then we would need to have 2 digits after. So we now need to see how many minutes it has gone past the 3. So start from the 12 and count round clockwise. So it would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Oh, let's get a different pen. So it will be 3:50. Obviously, we don't know whether it is AM or PM. We could have also, if it is 10 minutes to, I know there are 60 minutes in an hour, so if I take off 10 from 60, I would have 50. Okay, let's have a look at number 1 then. Number 1, complete the sequence. 5/10, 6/10, 7/10. Your answer should have been 8/10, because if we have a look, the denominator is not changing, it is just the numerator that is counting up, so I will have the same denominator and my next number after 7 is 8. Okay, number 2. It says, what fraction is shaded? Well, we first need to know how many parts. Remember, our parts is our denominator, the one at the bottom, D for down. So let's count the number of parts. 1. Actually, I'm going to draw it as well so you can see it. So there's something like this, and I can count the parts first. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my denominator is going to be 7 because there are 7 parts. And if I count how many are shaded, 1, 2, I know 2/7 are shaded. For a quick bonus point, can you tell me how many parts are not shaded as a fraction? If you are doing this, please pause the video now and then play it as soon as you've spotted it. Okay, so I would say that I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts, so that is going to be my denominator. And if I want to count the ones not shaded, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/7 are not shaded. And I know that this is correct because if I do 2 add 5, I would have 7. And my denominator would stay the same, so I would have the whole bar. Okay, let's have a look at number 3. So number 3, how long is the pencil? So I can see that the pencil does not start at 0, so I need to see where the pencil starts at, and I can see that my pencil starts at 4 centimetres. And I can see that my pencil is going all the way up to about 9 centimetres and 8 millimetres, because remember, between every centimetre, between every big number, there are 10 millimetres. Now, if you didn't quite, because it was quite hard to see on the screen, if you got 9.7 or 9.9, that's absolutely fine, but we can see that it doesn't go all the way up to 10 centimetres. So as long as you have got 9 centimetres and either 7, 8 or 9 millimetres, I will allow that because it was quite difficult to see. So now I need to find the difference, so I can put it on a number line. So I can put 4 centimetres at the start, and I'm trying to get to 9 centimetres and 8 millimetres. So I can first of all start at 4 centimetres and I can jump, and I want to get to 9 centimetres, so actually I could jump all the way to 9 centimetres. And I know in that if I start from 4 and count up to 9, I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have got 5 centimetres. Then I want to get from 9 centimetres to 8 millimetres, so I need to add 9 centimetres to 8 millimetres. I need to add 8 millimetres. So your answer should have been 5 centimetres and 8 millimetres. Now you could have either wrote it like this, or alternatively you could have wrote it just as centimetres. So I can see I have got 5 whole centimetres, and I can put my decimal point. And how many millimetres have I got left? I've got 8 millimetres left over, and because I'm saying I've got 5 whole centimetres, I would need to put centimetres at the end. Finally, we have got our question 4, which is what is 8 times 4? And I can see that I can either do 8 times 4 or I can do 4 times 8 to find the answer. So you can either choose whichever one you're most comfortable in. I would probably go with my 4 times table because I know them better. However, if you know your 8s, you will get there much quicker. So what you could have done, you could have wrote out your 4 times table: 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Or alternatively, you could have wrote out your 8s, 16, 24, 32 to find that I've got 8 lots of 4. So my answer will be 32, and alternatively I've got 4 lots of 8, so again it will be 32 would be your answer. So if you've got 32, fantastic. So I'd like you to think of as many 2D shapes as you can. I know you've done stuff in previous years. Can you think of as many 2D shapes as you can? You can write a list of these down if you wanted to, or just to verbally say them out loud. What are the shapes? These are some of the ones you should have come up with. So we've got circle, rectangle, triangle, square. They were probably the most popular ones that you'll have already known. Then we've got other ones like oval, things like octagon, hexagon, rhombus, kite, pentagon. So we're going to go over these ones that are maybe even new ones to you that you might not have heard of before. So we have different shapes that have different number of sides. So a one-sided shape is a circle because it's just one side that goes around it. We also have a semicircle, which is a two-sided shape, which has got one at the base and then a round one. Triangles, there's lots of different types of triangles, but obviously we know a triangle is a three-sided shape. We also know a square and a rectangle are a four-sided shape, as we should already know these ones. Then we have a five-sided shape called a pentagon. So say the word pentagon. So this is a five-sided shape. We then have one called a hexagon, which is a six-sided shape. Can you say hexagon? Now we have one called a heptagon. So we've had hexagon, we've now got heptagon, which is a seven-sided shape. So say the word heptagon. Fantastic. So we've then got an eight-sided shape. Now what other animals can you think of that have 8 legs? An octopus is one of them. So this is a great way to remember that an 8-sided shape is called an octagon, because an octopus has 8 legs and an octagon is an 8-sided shape. For 9, it begins with an N, which also a 9 begins with. So it begins with an N. So we've got a nonagon. And a 10-sided shape is a decagon. Now, as you can see from a 5-sided shape, they all have pentagon. So they've all got agon on the end. So from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and more plus shapes, they all end in agon. So if you can try and remember, an 8-sided shape is an octagon, also an octopus. 9-sided shape is a nonagon because it starts with the letter N, which starts 9 and a nonagon. A hexagon is a 6-sided shape. A heptagon is a 7-sided shape. And a way that you could remember a hexagon is 6 has got an X in it, and so does hexagon. So that's another way. So if you can remember that 6 has an X, hexagon has an X, and then that will remember what 6 is, then you can remember that 7 is a heptagon. So 4-sided shapes are also called quadrilaterals. So quad means 4, so we have things like a quad bike because it has 4 wheels. We have quadruples, so just like you have twins that have 2 babies, quadruples are 4 babies born at the same time. So we've got quadrilaterals, which are all 4-sided shapes. So things like a kite, that is still a quadrilateral because it is a 4-sided shape. So there are some of the examples of quadrilaterals. So here are some. We've got a kite, rectangle, square. We've got other ones which are 4-sided shapes but not necessarily got a name. Now we have the different words that these are. We call these regular and irregular shapes. So a regular shape has sides that are all the same length, and all the angles as well on the inside are all equal. So as you can see from the top shape, all the sides are the same length, and the distance, the angle that is on each of the inside of these is all the same as well. However, we have irregular shapes, and irregular shapes are shapes that have a certain number of sides, but the sides and the angles are not always the same length or the same size. So we can see the difference. Both of these have got 6 sides, so both of these would be a hexagon, but because one of them has got a regular shape because they are all equal lengths and equal angles, whereas the other one is irregular because it hasn't got the same length, sides or angles. So are these both hexagons? The answer is yes, because even though they don't look the same and they're not both equal, they both have 6 sides. So I'd like you to have a look at doing this now. You could label number them 1 to 10, and I'd like you to say whether it's a regular shape, whether they all have, if it looks like it should do, if they have the same length sides, or whether it is an irregular shape so that the sides are not all the same. Okay, so let's have a look. Did you get the same answers as me? So for the first one, for the rectangle, we know that this is a regular rectangle because 2 sides are the same and the other 2 sides are the same length as well, because remember, on a rectangle they have 2 sides that are the same and the other 2 sides are the same. Then I've got the triangle. Now the triangle is also regular because it is a 3-sided shape, all sides are the same length and the angles are the same also. I've then got a 10-sided shape, so if you'd counted all the sides up, we can see that this is a decagon and that it is regular because all the sides are the same length and the angles are also the same. Then we have an arrow, the pink arrow. Now this is irregular because actually if we counted the sides, we would count that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides, which would be a heptagon. However, a heptagon would normally have, if it was regular, all the sides would be the same length and the angles would be the same, as obviously this one isn't. If we have a look at the next arrow, the yellow arrow, if we count the sides again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a hexagon. However, it is an irregular hexagon because the sides and the angles are not the same. Then we have a square. This is obviously regular because all the sides and angles are the same. And then we have another hexagon underneath, but this is irregular because again, the sides and the angles are not the same. Then we have a pentagon, a five-sided shape, the orange one. This is regular because all the sides are the same length and the angles are all the same as well. And then below we have I will just check that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, an eight-sided shape, so that's an octagon. And we know that this is regular because there are 8 sides that are all the same length and the angles between each are all the same as well. And finally, the one at the bottom that looks like a house is irregular because even though it is a five-sided shape, all the sides and the angles are not the same because, as you can see, there are 2 right angles in this shape. Okay, so you're going to have a go at doing something like this before you get started on the activity sheet. So I'd like you to draw 3 columns and split your columns into 3: shape, name, regular and irregular. So if you can pause the video now, make sure you use a ruler to draw your lines. Pause the video now, and can you go and split your page into 3 sections. Now once you've done that, we're going to have a go at drawing the different sided shapes as regular and irregular shapes. So we're going to do it systematically. So we're going to start with the smallest number first. So obviously we have got a circle which is one-sided and an oval which is a two-sided, or not an oval, sorry, a semicircle which is a two-sided. However, these are quite difficult to show, so we're going to start with a triangle. So I'm going to write the word triangle under my shape name. I'm then going to draw a regular triangle. Now try your best with these. Remember, when a shape is regular, it's got to have all sides which are the same length and all sides which have the same angle. So use your ruler to do this. And in order to do this, I'm going to do what we call an equilateral triangle because it is all the same length. So I'm going to go start at the top. I'm going to go down 2 centimeters, across 2 centimeters, and up 2 centimeters. So that's all 3 of my sides are the same. Just press that down so you can see that a little bit better. All 3 of my sides are the same length and my angles are the same as well. Now if I want to do an irregular one, triangle, this is where I need sides that are different lengths, but I still need a 3-sided shape. So you can have a go. Now you can do 1 or 2 of these, but I need to do a 3-sided shape, so I'm going to do one long one there, one long one over here, and one shorter one there. So that my lines are all different lengths, and the angles are different as well. So there I have got a regular triangle, irregular triangle. Once you have done that, you can draw a line underneath. Use your ruler again. I'll try and do it on mine. Underneath to separate from that one and the next one. Then you can think of your 4-sided shape. So for example, now you can either do, what I would suggest doing here is writing a quadrilateral, because quadrilateral, as we've just learnt, is a 4-sided shape. Quadrilateral. Now a regular quadrilateral might be there's 2 different types. So we could have a square or we could have a rectangle. So you can draw whichever one that you would like. So I can draw 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is my rectangle. Now if it was an irregular quadrilateral, this would mean that I would have different shaped sides. So as long as it is 4-sided shape, I could do 1, 2, I could even go in 3, 4. Then I would draw an irregular shape because I've got 4 sides, all of different lengths and of different sized angles as well. So I'd like you to keep going. So I'm just going to pause the video now. I'm going to write down the ones that you are going to have a go at doing as well. And obviously you can do as many different ones as you like, or you could just do one example. So I'd like you to have a go. So I've obviously did the example of a triangle and a quadrilateral, 3-sided shape, 4-sided shape. Then you're going to have a go at doing the 5-sided shape pentagon, 6-sided shape hexagon, 7-sided shape heptagon, and 8-sided shape octagon. Now, if you can't remember what these look like, if you roll the video back until you get to the page where we talked about the different shapes, you can use that there to help you to draw them as regular shapes, and then you can have a go at doing them as an irregular shape as well. And then once you finish this, you can move on to the challenge sheet. So I'd like you to have a go at doing the sheet now. This is attached to the seesaw activities. So you're going to be labelling up shapes, you might be writing the name of shapes, you might be finding quadrilaterals. So if you'd like to have a go at doing this first, and then I'll go through the answers after. Let's have a look at the answers. So obviously the first one is nice and easy triangle, the second one's a square, the next one, if you count the sides, it's a 5-sided shape, so it's a pentagon, and the last one is a 6-sided shape, so it's a hexagon, remembering they've got that X in both of their words. For number 2, the first one, nice and easy, is a circle. B, if we count the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a pentagon because it's a 5-sided shape. C is a triangle, and D is a 6-sided shape, so it is a hexagon. For number 3, Dora and Ron each have a shape. My shape has 3 sides, so it is a triangle. Why is Dora correct? Well, incorrect, sorry. Well, a triangle has got 3 sides. She isn't wrong with that. However, a triangle has 3 straight sides, rather than this one looks more like a cone because it's got 2 straight sides and 1 curved side. Ron says, my shape is a house. Why might Ron think that? Yes, he is right. It does look like a house. However, this is not the name of the shape. The shape is a pentagon, but he is right. A house does look like a shape because it is a 5-sided shape. Number 4, here are the shapes. Circle all the quadrilaterals. So you should have circled all the shapes which had 4 sides. Part B, draw 3 more quadrilaterals. So you could have done them and they could have looked all different as long as they all had 4 sides to them. So what do you notice about the shapes they've drawn is that they all have 4 sides. Is this shape a square? Circle your answer. Yes, it is, because it's got every single side has got the same length. So each side is 3 centimetres, and we know a square, all the sides are the same. This shape is a hexagon. Why is it a hexagon? Well, if we count it, the number of sides, we can say that it has 6 sides. So even though it doesn't look like a regular hexagon, it is an irregular shape, but it still is a hexagon because it has 6 sides. Question 6, we're going to have to count the sides to work out what the name of the shape is called. So the first one is a heptagon because it is 7 sides. The second one is an octagon because it's got 8 sides. The next one is a nonagon because it's got 9 sides. And the last one is a decagon because it has got 10 sides. And finally, question 7, each shape has at least 1 pair of parallel lines. Draw on the shapes to show the parallel lines. So remember, the parallel lines are 2 lines that run in the same direction that will never cross, so you'll be able to see for the first 2 that there is 1 set, and then for the rhombus at the bottom, which looks like a square which has been pushed onto its side, there are 2 sets of parallel lines. So have a go marking these up, put your work on Seesaw, and I'd love to see all your hard work.